But I'm just going to show you now a clip from some of the early development work that's going on. I don't know, Matthew, if you can show that clip.
Could you give me the URL for it?
I already set it quite a way back, actually, if you look up in the chat. Yeah, it's a SendSpace file. We can go back to it, of course. If you haven't actually uploaded it yourself, it might take you a while to upload it because it's a rather large clip. So if you maybe go back one slide, and I can maybe just talk a little bit about it, and then we can show it maybe when you've had a chance to get hold of it. Or we can stay on this clip, this slide as well. Or that slide. Sorry, I can't control the slides because of the delay from my end. But basically the idea is that this is an environment where you can teach not just history, maths, you can teach a whole range of different things. And the idea is, rather than have a tutor who tells you this is what it was like in ancient Rome, you yourself will go around the environment and learn information from the intelligent virtual agents that are in that environment. So crucially, the idea is, at the moment, we haven't implemented sound, but the idea will be you'll be able to have quite natural or naturalistic conversations with the different characters and be able to find information as you would in a normal game. But here we're mapping onto curricular objectives. So initially we're looking at this as a history teaching game because obviously that seems like quite an obvious way to do it. And we started our evaluation. So we spent most of the summer developing the game, and this is on the Unity Games engine. And we're going to spend most of the autumn evaluating the game with kids. So we've targeted, and in quite a few of our games, we're targeting the 11 to 13-year-old age range because these kids are going to be in our universities in about 5 years' time. So we want to be able to offer them something very immersive, something very exciting, something that they're expecting in order to support a more engaging learning environment. So within this environment, we're also integrating multimodal interfaces. So if you can just advance me. So it looks like the upload is failing. Okay, so this is good. So here you can see, it may not be possible to show you the clip, unfortunately, but let's see if Matthew can do it in the meantime. So there you can actually see at least a screenshot on the lower left-hand side. You can see a screenshot from the environment itself. And you can get an idea of the quality of the environment. So you can walk around there, you can begin to see the environment. It's actually, we've modeled the area of the forum. We've got the whole model, we'll be doing various different things with it, but in this particular project, we're looking at building the serious game concept around that. And then as you can see, we're trying to integrate a whole range of different kind of peripheral devices. So the brain-computer interface devices, sound interfaces, haptics, and so on. And this will allow, through this increased visualization, you'll begin to interact much more deeply within that environment. And here's just another visualization, really, but just an idea that you can begin to use a whole series of different kinds of controller devices and to bring that social interaction and the interaction that you feel to try and make that more seamless within these very high-quality visualized environments, whether that's through a games console or through a PC or through desktop devices or the iPad. In a way, you can begin to deliver to all those kinds of devices. So then just to come to my final slide then and to reflect a little bit about what this actually means in terms of how learning will look in the future, we think that vision will be kids will be able to immerse themselves within these kinds of environments. They'll be able to go around the environment to have a dialogue with other virtual characters and also other real characters within the environment. They'll be able to go on quests and interact and socially have social dialogues within those environments and learn in that way. So closer, I suppose, in a way to maybe the Socratic method where you're learning through dialogue. That social interaction will provide more of the bedrock. That doesn't mean that you won't be using other modes of learning, and it doesn't mean that associative and cognitive won't be used. Our idea is that all of these kinds of learning theories will be integrated within these environments, but you'll be able to have a more seamless interaction. And the way that assessment will work will be seamless. So you will go through the different you will be able through role play and through quests to level up, and the assessment and your interactions will be measured almost transparently within the system itself. So this is good news for teachers, because we won't have to do any more marking anymore, because that grading will happen within the environment, and it'll be very much, it'll be almost invisible or stealth assessment, as Jeff was talking about earlier. How will that happen? Well, through the flow, the visuals, and the narrative immersion that you'll have, and that fast feedback, that immediate feedback, which may even involve biofeedback using brain computer interface devices or other physiological measures. That realism will be able to be fed in and help to create scaffolding within the environment and help to increase the immersion of the player or the learner themselves. We were talking a little earlier about gamification, and that's something which I think we're going to hear a lot about probably next year. I mean, it is a buzzword, so probably the year after we won't hear anything more about it. But I think the critical thing is that we are going to actually see a lot more of gaming metaphors. I'm just kind of moving to my own slides now, because I can't really see my slides at the moment. But yeah, so there's this huge potential for how learning is going to take place in the future. Obviously, by introducing gaming elements, you will be able to increase motivation and engagement. You'll be able to reach learners that previously were quite difficult to reach. And assessment itself will, I think, become a much more subtle and sophisticated thing. You'll be able to learn, built-in assessment within the system. There's opportunities for peer assessment, collaborative assessment, competency analysis, mentoring. There's a whole range of different ways. And these measures can all be brought together into a system which will not only tell you what their performance is, but also create different kinds of respond on the fly and maybe change things that where it's clear that particular concepts maybe are not understood. You can then kind of build in automatic and dynamic quests that can support that kind of scaffold learning in those particular areas where maybe learning hasn't taken place, and move on and accelerate where those concepts have been understood quickly. So the capability for personalization is massive here. So this is kind of very much what we feel is the vision for the future. It's around this idea of intelligent tutoring environments. It's integrating multimodal interfaces. It's bringing together a range of technologies which at the moment seem quite disparate, like haptics and biofeedback and mobile devices, and bringing them into one environment to have a single kind of interface that will be usable and will support learning. So that's kind of, I've got another slide to advance to. I don't know if we can do that. I'm pinging a bit, so I don't know whether that means whether hopefully you guys can see it anyway.
Yeah, it's coming up, Sara.
So you can see then some information. If you want to know more about the work that we're doing, we've got a lot of publications. Also go to seriousgames.org.uk and look under publications in the research section. We've got an event coming up, which all our events are streamed into Second Life. So if you want to join us, although I don't know what the time will be in Australia then, but we hold our events every month. The next event, actually, that event is moved now to November, so the second Wednesday of November. We'll be talking about multimodal interface and children and avatars. So that's something we would welcome your participation with. And every month we do have these events, which are streamed in Second Life, so you're more than welcome to join us. If you do have any further questions, don't hesitate to contact me directly. Sorry, somebody's just trying to Skype me. That's what this sound is in the background. And I've got a list of some of the recent publications that relate to what I've talked about today here. So if you want to have a look at those, or if you want to get hold of them and you can't get hold of them, do email me as well, and I'll try and forward you copies. Some of those papers are also available on the website. So thank you very much for having me, and I hope that you've enjoyed what I've had to say today, and I hope you were able to see that clip in the end. So thank you very much.
Okay, Sara, thank you very much. And before everyone heads off, there's a couple of things that we will do. Obviously, Sara will stay on and do a few questions. And yes, Matthew's just put up the questionnaire. So if you don't, or the survey. So if people wouldn't mind filling out the survey before they go. And while you're doing that, you can ask Sara any questions or any comments that you'd like to make. Don't forget, if you'd like to talk, just click the little hand symbol, and the numbers will come up, and you'll know what order you'd like to talk in.